The box was small. Too small to be this heavy. On a crisp Monday morning in June 2012, a Canada Post worker in Montreal dropped off a plain brown parcel addressed to the Conservative Party headquarters. It had no return address. No fragile sticker. Just an unsettling weight that felt wrong. Minutes after opening it, staff screamed in horror. Inside was a decomposing human foot. It was just the beginning. More boxes followed. More body parts. More horror. But even as investigators scrambled to identify the victim and unravel this grotesque puzzle, they were playing right into the killer's hands. This wasn't just a murder, it was performance art. A sadistic spectacle designed for attention, fear, and control. What unfolded over the next 2 weeks would horrify not just Canada, but the entire world. It was a tale that included a narcissistic killer, a snuff video uploaded to the dark web, international manhunts, cat-and-mouse games with law enforcement, and a grotesque obsession with fame. This is the story of Luka Magnotta, the man who dismembered his victim, mailed the parts across the country, and taunted the authorities with every step. Stay with us as we unfold one of the most disturbing, sadistic, and calculated cases of modern criminal history. A tale so twisted it shattered the boundaries between reality, internet law, and horror fiction. Before the boxes, before the murder, before the headlines, there was a man who wanted to be famous. Desperately, Luka Magnotta was born Eric Clinton Kirk Newman on July 24, 1982, in Scarborough, Ontario. His early life was marked by instability, neglect, and cruelty. His mother was controlling and obsessed with cleanliness. His father was diagnosed with schizophrenia and institutionalized. As a child, Luka was homeschooled and isolated. He was eventually placed in foster care, where his fragile identity and mental health began to spiral. In his teenage years, Luka began reinventing himself. He changed his name, rebranded his identity, and surgically altered his appearance to mimic Hollywood ideals. In Toronto, he worked as a stripper, escort, and adult film actor under several aliases. But he wasn't just performing for clients. He was performing for a world that hadn't yet noticed him. In 2007, Luka tried to break into the mainstream. He auditioned for reality TV shows, started a YouTube channel, and even attempted to enter modeling competitions. But nothing worked. The fame he craved continued to elude him. That's when his methods took a darker turn. In December 2010, a chilling video surfaced online. It showed a young man, his face partially hidden, placing 2 kittens inside a vacuum-sealed bag and sucking the air out. The kittens died slowly as the man watched. The video was posted on a site notorious for sharing disturbing content. But it spread like wildfire. Online sleuths, animal lovers, and digital vigilantes were horrified. A Facebook group titled Find the Kitten Vacuumer for Great Justice was launched. The group grew rapidly and started investigating. They poured through video frames, matched bedsheets, electrical outlets, wall art. Every small clue became part of a massive digital manhunt. One of the group's leaders, Deanna Thompson, became obsessed. Working from her computer in Las Vegas, she began compiling evidence, building timelines, and narrowing down suspects. Meanwhile, Luka posted more videos. One with a python eating a kitten. Another with a cat drowned in a bathtub. Despite mounting evidence, law enforcement didn't intervene. The crimes, while horrific, were not yet linked to any known individual. And animal cruelty, especially when committed online, fell through legal cracks. But the sleuths had a name. They believed Luka Magnotta was the man behind the videos. And Luka knew he was being watched. By 2012, Luka's online fame among dark web communities had grown. He was known as the Kitten Killer and had begun frequenting forums where violent fantasies and graphic content were normalized. He relished the attention, even if it was for the worst reasons. But attention was never enough. He needed a finale, something that would make him unforgettable. He began hinting online. One day, you'll see a video that tops everything. On May 24, 2012, Luka posted ads on Craigslist seeking male companionship. That same night, 33-year-old Jun Lin, a student from China studying computer engineering at Concordia University, responded to one of the ads. Surveillance footage from Luka's apartment complex captured Jun Lin entering the building at 10:16 p.m. He was never seen alive again. What happened inside that apartment was filmed, edited, and posted online. The video was titled "One Lunatic, One Ice Pick." It showed a naked man tied to a bed frame. A second man, wearing a hoodie, entered the frame and began stabbing him with an ice pick. The man was then decapitated, dismembered, and and sexually assaulted post-mortem. A knife carved through skin. Limbs were sawed off. A dog was seen gnawing on the corpse. The video ended with the killer holding the severed head up to the camera, grinning. It was Jun Lin. The video was posted to gore sites and dark web forums on May 25th. It took several days for law enforcement to connect the video to Jun Lin's disappearance. By the time they did, Luka was already gone. On May 29th, a receptionist at the Conservative Party headquarters in Ottawa opened a box. Inside was a left foot wrapped in tissue, soaked in blood. Later that day, a second parcel was discovered en route to the Liberal Party office. Inside, a left hand. Police began tracking packages across the country. In Vancouver, 2 elementary schools received boxes containing limbs. One box had a right hand. Another had a right foot. Both packages were intercepted before they reached students. In Montreal, a janitor discovered a suitcase in a back alley near Luka's apartment. It was filled with maggots, blood, and a headless torso. Forensic tests confirmed all parts belonged to Jun Lin. When police entered Luka's apartment, they were met with a chilling scene. Bloodstains on the mattress. A red-stained bathtub. Trash bags filled with clothing, bloody towels, and surgical tools. A buzzsaw lay in the kitchen sink. But Luka had already fled. He left behind one clue. A note written in red ink on a pink sheet of paper. If you don't like the reflection, don't look in the mirror. I don't care. Interpol issued a red notice for Luka Magnotta. It was a race against time. Luka had already fled to Paris on May 26th, days before the body was found. Surveillance footage showed him visiting the Eiffel Tower, posing in cafes, shopping at sex shops. He knew he was being hunted, and he was enjoying it. He used multiple aliases: Kirk Newman, Vladimir Romanov, Jimmy. Eventually, Luka boarded a bus to Berlin. He checked into a budget hotel, changed appearances, and kept a low profile. But on June 4, 2012, he made a mistake. He walked into an internet cafe to Google himself. The cafe owner recognized him and quietly called the police. Minutes later, Luka was arrested while reading news articles about himself. Luka was extradited to Canada and charged with first-degree murder, indignity to a human body, publishing obscene materials, criminal harassment. His trial began in September 2014. The defense pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, citing schizophrenia and borderline personality disorder. The prosecution argued Luka was fully aware of his actions. The murder was premeditated, filmed, edited, and distributed with intention. The jury heard testimony from Jun Lin's family, forensic experts, and digital analysts. They watched the horrifying video. On December 23, 2014, Luka was found guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to life in prison. Jun Lin was more than a victim. He was a son, a friend, a dreamer. He had moved to Canada with hope, seeking education and opportunity. He kept a diary, loved his cat, and video called his parents every week. When he stopped responding, his parents feared the worst. They flew to Canada to identify his body, and found themselves at the center of an international media storm. Jun Lin's father told the court, "My heart is broken. Life is no longer life." The Luka Magnotta case left scars on Canadian society, policing, and internet culture. It prompted widespread debates about online extremism, snuff content, and animal cruelty. It exposed the weaknesses in law enforcement's ability to act on digital threats. Netflix's Don't F*** K with Cats documented the efforts of internet sleuths who tracked Luka before the murder. They had warned authorities, but were ignored. Today, Luka sits in prison, but the impact of his actions still lingers. Luka Magnotta wasn't just a killer. He was a narcissist who turned murder into a performance. He dismembered a man to gain followers. He mailed body parts to spread fear. He filmed his crime for fame. But he was undone by the very thing he sought most: attention. If this story horrified you, as it should, please like, share, and subscribe to True Crime Hub. We tell the stories that demand to be remembered. We speak for victims who no longer can. Jun Lin deserved to live. Let his story be a reminder. When we ignore the red flags, when we allow cruelty to grow unchecked, monsters like Luka Magnotta rise. Help us shine a light into the darkest corners of humanity.